Listeners, beware! You're in for a scare!
Howdy, folks. Welcome to Nightmare on Fear Street and R.L. Stein podcast. I'm your spooky host, Zach.
And I'm your other spooky host, Meg.
Ooh, and this week we went full-on medieval.
Yeah, we went medieval on these mother effers.
Yes.
These mother heckers.
Because, first I thought it would be vampires, but then it turned out I looked at the wrong thing. I can't spell night right, so it's Fright Knight.
That was bad. That was a bad evil laugh.
I mean, this isn't like the Fright Lost Boys. Or, I guess if this was written now, it would be The Lost Boy.
The Lost Boy? The Lost Breathe In Boy? They're called the Frog Brothers, right? So, that Lost Boy. And when they come after the vampires are like, oh shit, what up?
Oh man, do they know the way?
They know the way.
They know the way. Well, I'm surprised R.L. Stein hasn't written a book about killer memes yet.
I mean, R.L. Stein doesn't seem to, be up on the memes at all, to the point that I don't even get the feeling that he cares.
I think he cares a little bit, but I mean, this is the guy that, name-dropped Hulk Hogan in this book. Actually, technically, wait, he didn't write this book. No,
he didn't. A lot of the Ghost to Fear Street ones are ghost written.
But I'm just saying, he's name-dropped Terminator 2, 1,000 times.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day shows up in basically every Goosebumps book, and I would not be surprised if R.L. Stein's, child was not named Terminator 2 Judgment Day Stein.
Or Arnold Schwarzenegger Stein.
How was your spooky week?
It was super spooky! I got to go see Return to Nukem High, otherwise known as Volume 2.
Is that the one that you were in?
Yes, I was in this movie. I was like, look at that handsome fellow in the back. And it was a really fun experience. It was fun to see all my friends again. It was a lot of interesting people that I got to meet, a lot of fellow Trauma fans. And it was a very interesting premiere because there was a lot of interesting folks there. It was a good movie.
Good.
So, Meg, how was your spooky week?
Well, yesterday I went to Monster Fest, traveling sideshow at George Street Cinema, and it's basically in Melbourne every year they do an actual festival of horror movies, but this year and last year they're taking it on the road to Sydney, and I only literally found out about it on Friday night, so there were a bunch of movies on Friday that I missed. I went to see The Monster Squad,
yes! And Wolfman's got nards!
It still makes me cry at the end with Frankenstein and the little girl. And a scene that a joke that I had forgotten about for since I'd last watched this movie that just ended me was when Eugene writes the letter that's Dear Army Man, please come to my town, there are monsters here, love Eugene, and then he mails it, and then at the very end of the movie, the general, the army comes into the town, and the general jumps down from the car and goes, okay, which one of you boys is Eugene?
There's so many great jokes. I think my other favorite one is when all the kids are scared of the monster, and the little girl's like, don't be chicken shit! That, and then also the garlic pizza.
Yes, the garlic pizza.
I could just have a whole episode about Monster Squad because I think it's superior to the Goonies.
Oh no, it's better than the Goonies. It is a better movie than the Goonies. I've seen the Goonies once and I've had no desire to ever see it again. But Monster Squad, I could watch infinity times.
I've watched it so many times I can quote that movie.
Although there are a lot of things about it that are oh, this was made in the 80s. The whole thing with the taking pictures of the girl. And then when they come out of the principal's office and Sean's oh, he was really homoing it up in there or whatever. And it's oh, this was made in the 80s. This is not okay by today's standards.
I don't look at movies back then by our today's standards.
No, I mean but it just, I know, I can ignore it and watch the movie, but still, it happens, and then I'm oh, right.
That's trying to watch 16 Candles now. It's oh, God, this movie. Yeah, this movie.
Oh, I know. Oh.
I think it's still one of the greatest comedies of the ever. But thinking about it, like the people that have never seen it, seeing it now, it's like, oh god.
And then I also saw Night of the Living Dead restored in 4K.
Yes!
It was so good, and man, that ending is brutal.
I think Night of the Living Dead is one of the greatest movies, not horror movies. I think it's one of the greatest movies ever made because everything about it is a good raw movie about. I don't know. George Romero's a weird. Rest in peace, George Romero. He's a weird guy that came up with amazing movies.
Let's kiss up to heaven for George Romero.
Because I've seen, if you've ever seen the movie Martin, yeah.
Oh, I've heard Martin's amazing. I haven't seen it, but Henry's seen it, and like, if I can ever find a copy, I'll watch it.
It's amazing. Some of my favorite things about that movie is, did you know after they filmed that movie, there actually was a terrible rainstorm that caused all the graves in the cemetery to pop up, so there was just corpses everywhere?
Amazing.
There's a really good book about, actually, if you haven't seen Doc of the Dead, it's an amazing documentary about Night of the Living, like the whole Dead series by George Romero. It's really good. Dawn of the Dead is still, I think, a little better.
Oh, I haven't seen Dawn. I haven't seen Dawn. I haven't seen Day. I've only seen Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, then you need to watch Day of the Dead. Oh my god. That's so quotable. Actually, Dawn of the Dead is the most quotable movie we've ever had. We got this, man. We got this by the ass.
Trust you to, like, watch a movie based on its quotability and recommend a movie based on its quotability.
All I do is quote that movie.
That's all you do is quote movies.
So this week, we read
Fright Knight!
A book in the Ghost of Fear Street series. Not written by R.L. Stein. So this book was written by Connie Laux, Laux. So this book was in 1996, and, you know, Ghost of Fear Street is kind of weird, edgy goosebumps. It's kind of for kids, but not really. So, Meg, you want to describe this cover?
So there's a knight, like a real classic knight in shining armor, and there's two glowing green eyes looking out at you, and there's like all this glowy stuff coming out. It's a very simple cover. It's like exactly what you think the cover of this book should look like, hearing a description of it.
Or you get people confused, like, where are the vampires?
Yeah, it's funny that, like, the book that the Mind Reader cover, we were like, oh, this looks like the cover for Fright Knight, and now we're reading a book called Fright Knight, and it doesn't look like the cover for Fright Knight.
So the tagline for this book is, a ghost in shining armor.
That's lame.
He is a living nightmare. Night spelled as night, ha ha ha.
Ha.
I wonder how long it took them to make that pun. I just feel like the person in the pun department that R.L. Stein contracts, they automatically have a good drum. So when they come up with a good pun, someone has to go, doo-doo, tsh. Mike loves hanging out at his father's weird little museum on Fear Street, trademark. Full of cool stuff and like a guillotine, a mummy, and a bunch of spooky wax figures. Mike's favorite is a suit of armor. At least it was his favorite until he saw a pair of glowing eyes inside the helmet. Until the knight lifted its arms and pointed its sword at Mike's chest. Until the knight challenged Mike to a battle to the death.
Dun, 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 dun.
You know what this book reminded me of?
What?
An episode of Gravity Falls.
I have not watched all of Gravity Falls yet. I think
It's very similar. Like, their dad owns, like pretty much like a mystery shack.
Oh, yeah, so you're saying that this is, like, just thematically. I thought you were referencing a specific episode of Gravity Falls that had a knight.
Well, there is a specific episode like this where there's the wax figures that come to life.
Oh, no, I've seen that one. With John Oliver as Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
That was such a good episode.
But I'm just saying, like, thematic, like, this could have easily have been an episode of Gravity Falls.
Also, I'm getting, like, really strong vibes if there's an episode of Kolchak the Night Stalker called The Nightly Murders. And this is a lot like that, but without the murders.
Isn't there also like an episode of Scooby-Doo with the exact same premise?
That was the first ever episode of Scooby-Doo.
Really?
Yeah, the first episode of Scooby-Doo that was ever made was... The first episode of Scooby-Doo is called What a Night for a Night.
What a Night for the Night.
Yes.
You know, I can actually probably see that entire episode in my head with like the Hanna-Barbera background going around as the Mystery Machines just going through fog.
Yes.
Then they meet the Three Stooges, and then they see the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, yeah, and then they meet Batman.
And Elvis. Wait, no, I don't think they met Elvis.
No, they never met Elvis. I think he was dead by the time this show came out. But they definitely met Sandy Duncan. Like, I know so many celebrities from that time period just because I watched a lot of Scooby-Doo.
So, this book opens up, Meg, with Mike and his sister...
Carly.
And guess what?
Are they redheads?
Yes.
Take a drink, guys. Pack it up, boys. We've already met our redheads.
They're ginger redheads.
And people fake they're twins, but they're not twins.
They're not. The dad looks like Arthur Weasley, the way they describe him.
Yeah, because the dad has red hair too, but the mom is dead. She had brown hair, so...
She's not safe.
If you have a parent with red hair and a parent who doesn't have red hair, you can still be born with red hair. I don't understand biology. I haven't taken a science class. The doctor flips a coin, and if it lands on heads, your baby's gonna have red hair.
And if it lands on tails, oh no, I'm so sorry for you.
That's dark. No, I mean, like, that implies that there's some, like, horrible other thing that could happen to the baby. Something worse than being born with red hair.
It's like a Cthulhu baby.
It's that baby from the X-Files episode, Terms of Endearment. It's the devil baby. Bruce Campbell's devil baby.
Oh. I'm surprised I haven't made any Army of Darkness references this episode yet.
I mean, the episode is still young. Anyway, this book opens with the phrase "more blood," which is like, I'm already on board.
More blood. I'm gonna make a deep cut about this. I was laughing because I was thinking of a movie where there's a scene where they're in this restaurant, and it was Chopping Mall, and like they're in this restaurant, and they cut to this one guy randomly saying, "Waitress, more butter."
Whenever you say this made me think of a movie, I just stare off into space and my soul kind of leaves my body a little bit.
But yeah, no, they're like, more blood. We need more guillotine blood. Like, they're trying to prep a scene for, they're doing like a little wax house of horrors.
Yeah.
Kind of like in Penny Dreadful.
Funnily enough, the backstory of this family moving to Shadyside and buying this house and then renovating it and turning it into a museum is pretty much exactly the origin story of the Littleton Bigfoot Museum. It's not called that. It's called the North Carolina Museum of Cryptozoology and the Paranormal, which I went to while I was in the States. And it is just like in this old farmhouse that this guy bought in this creepy town that is extremely haunted all the time.
You know what the interesting thing also about this book is that they start bringing up old things that happen in these book series.
Yeah, I know. I was like, they reference like, oh, that's, what other town is going to have people saying they see ghosts playing hide and seek in the cemetery? And I was like, oh, call back. Oh, it's Pete. Oh, it's Pete.
We can't escape him. And then they talk about the Haunted Treehouse, which is another episode.
We haven't gotten to that one yet.
No, we'll get to that one.
Do you remember those books, The Magic Treehouse, where it was like the kids that had the treehouse and they could go back in time?
I had a bunch of them. I had the Titanic one. I had Twister on Tuesday. I had
the Pompeii one.
That story had like a story arc too. It was like really weird story arcs. Where like, they find the treehouse and then they have to stop a magic civil war.
Do you remember the Time Warp Trio also?
Time Warp Trio, here we go. Speaking of Time Warp Trio, did you hear Amelia Earhart's bones have been found?
I know, and the thing was that they were there and like everybody thought it was a man's bones. Because, like, they misremembered what Amelia Earhart looked like. These are not, like, the womanly shape of Amelia Earhart. These are, like, too stocky and too ugly to be from a woman. So those bones were just, like, sitting there under somebody's house for a really long time. And nobody thought that they were Amelia Earhart's until they had DNA testing done on them.
But, yeah, they found it. The reason why is because there's an episode of Time Warp Trio where they help. Actually, it's the girls episode.
I loved the girls episodes with the girls from the future.
Where they meet Amelia Earhart and they accidentally kill her.
But it's good that they found them on Nicomaroro, which is where everybody said they were going to be. Like Josh Gates and Astonishing Legends and a lot of other like shows and podcasts that I listen to, when they come up with theories about Amelia Earhart, it's like, oh, she's probably like somewhere on Nicomaroro. She probably just crashed the plane. Because there's all those theories about like, oh, she was taken by the Japanese, but I don't know if that happened.
It is a plausible theory. It's not a correct theory, but it's a plausible one.
Yeah, but it's just good that she can be taken back to the States and buried now.
That's only one piece of her bone. Maybe she's still in the Bermuda Triangle.
Maybe her soul is in the Bermuda Triangle, but her bones... but you know what? If her soul is in the Bermuda Triangle, if they bury the bones, her soul can be at peace. Kiss up to the sky for Amelia Earhart.
I don't think you want to kiss up to the sky. That's how she died.
Yeah, but that's where her ghost is.
She's flying a ghost plane.
Yeah, she's flying a ghost plane that cannot land until she is put to rest. And now she can be put to rest, so her ghost plane is coming into the airstrip.
This is Major Tom to ground control.
So Dad and Carly and Mike, I think his name is.
Yeah. They're trying to fix up this museum because, they're going to be going out of business soon because no one comes to this place because it's in Shadyside.
And nobody likes Shadyside. Like, this town obviously has, like, a terrible history with tourist attractions because Fear Park, that was a big hot mess.
I don't know, is this like a weird, like, universe within a universe where this is just another alternative Shadyside?
I don't know. I can't figure that out.
For the sake of argument, it's the same place, and it's like, wow, we actually got a bunch of the wax figures from the amusement park.
Yes.
And that's where they get, like, the guillotine and stuff, because, they had the axe show, and while they're doing this, they're trying to restore this place, there's a good old handyman that's working for the place called Mr. Spellman.
Mr. Spellman. Sabrina the Teenage Witch's dad or something.
Well, I mean, they have a black cat named Salem in this book.
Oh my god, that's right. He is literally just Sabrina the Teenage Witch's estranged dad. Where are her parents? That's the thing that I always wondered about Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She lives with her 2 aunts and her cat, but where are her parents? What happened to them? And I'll tell you what happened to her dad. He left the family and he went to Shadyside.
Became Mr. Spellman?
Yeah, Mr. Spellman.
And their mom?
Her mom's probably dead because everyone's mom is dead.
No, she's the crystal ball lady in Be Careful What You Wish For.
Oh man, Goosebumps and Archie in the same universe?
Well, I mean, if we can have Archie and Sabrina in the same universe, we can have anything. So they're supposed to be getting a new package today, a shipment of haunted armor.
From Uncle Basil in England, which is
I love Uncle Basil Oregano.
Uncle Basil Oregano time Parsley the Third. I'm just gonna say that I love Carly. I think it's gonna be great, I said. All my friends say this place is totally awesome. Totally awesome, Carly imitated me in a squeaky little voice. Bunch of nerds, she mumbled to herself. That's just so funny. That's me. That's me and you, like right there. It's like, you're always like, oh, I love this. And I'm like, you would think that. Nerd.
Here I'm like, I went to a nightclub yesterday and I was thinking about, man, I could really have just gone home and played D&D.
You geek? Although that's me, honestly. I'm not big on nightclubs.
I'm just like, man, I could like go home, play D&D, pretend to be in a D&D nightclub.
It's better because the drinks are less expensive in the D&D nightclub. You pay as much as you want for the drinks. And there's not like weird guys asking you out. Here's a description of Mr. Spellman. He's the caretaker. He's got white, long hair and a white mustache.
Yes.
And blue eyes.
Yes.
And he's tall and thin. And he always likes to talk about guillotines and mummies and stuff.
Yes.
So, and his name is Mr. Spellman. So I'm going to give the listeners 10 seconds to guess what the twist is. And you probably guessed it just now.
Oh, he's a... Let me think about this. I gotta do some calculations really quickly. He's a handyman.
He's a werewolf.
No! My fan theory is ruined. So they get the suit of armor, and they're like, oh yeah, Basil Oregano put a special gift in here, so good old Mike sticks his hand into the crate and he feels something grab his hand. Oh no!
Oh no!
But it's okay. His snap bracelet got stuck on the piece of armor.
That's why people stopped wearing snap bracelets, because they were a hazard. They got caught on things.
Oh, yeah, medieval weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
Here we are.
If you don't talk to your kids about snap bracelets, who will?
The streets.
Yeah.
The streets will tell them.
Snap bracelets to the streets.
Snapping to Electric Boogaloo. I
know.
So then they start pulling out the suit of armor, but there's a little grubby package at the bottom. And it turns out to be like a little necklace that has... They describe it as magical because it's like this little pendant, but inside there's like a swirly purple cloud.
I've just got to say, one, I was picturing the galaxy pendant from Men in Black.
Really? I was picturing the pendant in Neverending Story.
I haven't seen that movie in like a million years. I don't remember what that looks like. I was picturing just like it's got like swirly purple in it. I'm just thinking of Galaxy. And also, can I just say that the castle that this comes from is called Dreadbury. Dreadbury.
The Lower. Oh, wait.
What?
I heard Dread.
Oh, that was like your Sylvester Stallone noise. Okay, I get it now. I am the law.
Law.
That's sort of going a bit Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I can't do it. There's one where it's there's guys like Law.
That guy. This is the night that had this was because Dreadbury Castle was the home of Sir Thomas Barlane. The armor of Sir Thomas Barlane, and then Mike says he announced this name as if it was supposed to mean something to me, and it didn't.
Well, I mean, there's so many like, oh my god, and you're just like, who's that?
Who is that? Like every time you say anything, that's my reaction. Oh my god, who is that?
It's like, here's one. Meg, there's an evil wizard in a movie called Truck Sawdust. What movie is it from?
That sounds fake. You're making that up.
Nope, that's the real name. That's Stalker 3.
I choose to believe that it's fake.
It's real. His name's Truck Sawdust.
No, Zach, I think that's your name, and you're just giving him that name.
It's either that or Protheon from Dungeons and Dragons the movie.
I know about that because somebody gave that to me for my birthday, and I was like, because like I went through this huge dragons phase. This is before I had even started playing D&D, but somebody got me a copy of the Dungeons & Dragons movie for my birthday, and I watched it, and I've never regretted anything more in my life.
Oh, that movie's so terrible, but it has a special place in my heart. It's so bad.
I think I got rid of the DVD. I think I like sold it at a White Elephant stall or something.
So they start setting up the armor, and it looks really cool compared to the fake armor that they have, which is made out of tin. This is the real deal, like 1 billion pounds.
Like iron, or what did they make it out of back then?
I don't even know. Probably iron. I have no clue.
I don't think they had steel back then.
No, they did not.
Yeah. So basically, the armor is cursed. Everyone is doomed to bad luck or worse.
It's kind of like the Hope Diamond.
Yeah. And then I love that this is like such a 12-year-old thing, is that I pictured getting F's in maths test, even though I studied. I imagined my friend Pete telling the whole world I had a crush on Sarah Medlow.
Pete? Did you say Pete?
I mean, probably.
Okay.
And I sure could picture being Carly's brother. Womp womp. He hates his sister. There's an episode of Recess where they get cursed or something.
Oh, and they get pop quizzes, random pop quizzes and stuff.
Yeah, and then TJ's like, oh, it's gonna start off small, break a leg here, fall down the stairs there, but then pretty soon, we're gonna be getting F's in maths and losing all our favorite comic books.
Oh, no.
That's just such, child logic, like Hermione. We could be killed or worse, expelled.
You know, the cultural meme of the entire century. And he doesn't come to the thought of oh, this could horribly disfigure me or kill me.
This could kill me because this is a Ghosts of Fear Street book. It's not.
Speaking of that, as they're adjusting stuff, Mike is putting the battle axe on the armor as he actually drops it on his foot.
Oh no! And then he looks and his toes are all there.
Yes, it has sliced through I'm thinking it has high tops. It's sliced through the high top part.
Jovial Bob.
Cuts to that night and, Mike's sleeping when he hears thump, thump, thump.
Mike, I'm on the first step. Thump, thump. Mike, I'm on the second step.
They're here, under the floorboards. Can't you hear the infernal squeak?
I like that you, took the thumping, which is very much the original story, but you still went with the SpongeBob version, even though it makes less sense. In high school, we actually did an entire episode for a theater project. Oh my god. Have you seen the videos of, the guys that recreate every episode of SpongeBob?
Yeah.
I love them. I think I sent them to you. Anyway.
Yeah, no, but yeah, we did an entire, theatrical production of that episode of the Squeaky Boots.
Squeaky Boots. Oh, God.
That was for our Edgar Allan Poe project. So Mike goes out to investigate like any other, 12-year-old boy. And he puts his slippers on, and he goes downstairs, and, oh no, the armor's gone.
So he's like, this is my chance to prove that the armor is really haunted and catch this ghost in action.
Yes, it sure is. Then he hears thump, thump, thump.
And then he squints into the dark and he sees something hideous and terrible.
His sister.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun.
Oh, Mike, you hate your sister so much. I don't understand, like, why can't there be a Goosebumps book where the siblings actually get along with each other?
I'm pretty sure this is a R.L. Stine thing, because I think he made fun of his brother a lot, and they got along, but, sibling...
R.L. Stine, look, buddy, I know that they say write what you know, but sometimes write something different, because sometimes you write 62 books of the same thing, and everyone gets tired of it.
Or you write Monster Blood 4. Get off me!
Monster Blood 4. We don't talk about that in this house. In this house, we despise Monster Blood 4. I'm gonna make that as a cross stitch and hang it over my door.
As a welcome mat?
Yeah, it's like, if you like Monster Blood 4, get out. You're not welcome.
So then they start investigating more, and they actually go to... So this is, like, the weird part. They actually have a parlor that's just filled with coffins.
It is a museum in their house. Like, the whole downstairs is the museum.
Just trying to, like, figure out, like, is this, like, the Winchester Mystery House? Because it's just... the way to describe this is it keeps getting bigger, because it's like, oh, yeah, we have a bunch of coffins, but, good Mr. Spellman closes them all before he leaves every night. And some of them have, like, Dracula with, like, a stake pointing out. And then there's a really cool one, like, you open it up, and there's, like, a full suit of, like, a person, but where its face should be is actually a mirror, so when you look at it, it's your face.
That's my face! Do, like, worms come out of the one that looks like you?
No. And you don't, like, rip your face off either. They finally get to the conservatory, which is, like, the greenhouse.
It's like a sunroom. It's not really a greenhouse, but it's like a sunroom. Like... A lot of the old houses have, like, a room that's all glass, so you can, sit and be in the sun.
I know Beetlejuice had one. I know the Addams Family had one like that. And I think the Monsters
didn't have one.
In the Haunted Mansion, if you go in, so the first room, there's the guy at the coffin, like he's trying to get out. That's what it looks like.
It's just like a sunroom.
And there it is. The armor's there. And not only that, the entire medieval collection of weapons are also there. Because, they needed to find a weapon.
Oh, no. John Freeman needed to get weapon.
That's over 10 years old now?
I know. I wonder what the kid that made that is doing now.
He's probably in Congress right now. He's actually working for Valve as their scriptwriter for Half-Life 3. So, yeah. So they're there. And then Carla's like, I'm just going to bed because you're a weirdo. So she leaves. And then all of a sudden, Mike sees something like moving inside the helmet. Like he sees like a dark shadow. And like he starts to look into it. And Meg, guess what's in there?
Eyes.
No. Yes. Wait. Yes, there's eyes in there.
And it's glowing green.
No, they're glowing red. It's a bat.
I skipped ahead. I skipped ahead to the real scary bit.
Because there's a huge, like, bat that he described as being over 50 pounds. As a conservationist, are there bats that are, like, that big?
No! Maybe in Papua New Guinea? Maybe in Madagascar? But not here.
But yeah, I don't know, there's, like, a big old bat, and my first thought was, this is the vampire from How to Be a Vampire.
Yes, connected universe. He's going to, what's his name's house?
He's going to Andrew's house.
The helmet starts to glow green from the inside, and it's the coolest thing he's ever seen in his life.
It's like he starts walking and talking, doing all the cool things until he starts looking at good old Mike, and he's like, you evil wizard, I'm gonna kill you.
I think it's funny that they've also got, like, a mummy. The mummy's name is Charlie, by the way.
Oh, yes. Because they also have mummies.
Because it's, it's not like the mummy already had a name.
Well, I would have named it Brendan, but that's just me. The first thing that Mike says is, yeah, I'm not a wizard, I'm a 12-year-old boy, and the suit of armor is like, the wizard takes many shapes. First he was a dragon, then he was living fire, and now he could easily be a 12-year-old boy.
Sound logic from Sir Thomas.
So then they have like a Scooby-Doo-esque like chase scene where they're going through many doors and somehow end up in the different rooms.
Do you know what song that I have always thought of as, like, would be the perfect song for a Scooby-Doo chase scene, but I don't think it's ever been used for it? Ballroom Blitz by The Sweet. I won't sing too much because we'll get copyrighted. Anyway, so he's waited centuries to fight this wizard, and now he thinks Mike is the wizard, but Mike is not the wizard. And then he's like, choose your weapon.
I choose the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Oh, wait.
The choice has been made. Ray, what did you do?
But no, he starts picking up a shield which is physically bigger than him. Like, I guess I could like huddle behind it. And then he picks up a mace that weighs over a ton and he can barely like hold it.
Sir Thomas starts hitting him with the shield and it sparks off. And then the shield starts to break.
This is ungroovy.
Very ungroovy. And then in the next chapter, this is like the worst thing that's ever happened. Like, disappointing payoffs in the next chapter. In 2 seconds, I'd be face to face with the evil knight with no shield to protect me. 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4. Nothing happened.
We hate it, but Mike's able to run away and he goes into the other room where there's a display of a catapult because there's medieval torture devices.
He's looking at all of these weapons and he gets to the catapult.
He gets to the catapult and there's like a gigantic paper mache rock and he like breaks the catapult, like the weight thing, so it catapult goes and hits Sir Thomas in the face with it and he dies, quote unquote.
I really like this line here. The fire in his eyes exploded like lava in a volcano. That's badass.
And then when that happens, like a huge clanking sound and stuff, and finally, you know, Mike's dad comes down, like, what's going on here? Why did you touch the armor and stuff? He starts freaking out, and then all that Mike says is like, the armor came to the life and started attacking me, and his dad's like, oh my god, that's amazing, you've just saved the business. We really have haunted armor. We're going to exploit the shit out of this.
Once again, this is pretty much exactly what happened with the Littleton Paranormal Museum. The guy was like, my house is haunted. I am going to make a museum.
I'm going to exploit this for all it's got. I'm going to call Ghost Adventures if that show has existed right now.
I mean, no, all of those ghost hunting shows have only been around for, like, not since the 90s.
Like, this is 96. I think Ghost Hunters came out in 2000, 2002.
Did you ever watch Sightings when you were a kid?
Yes. You know, I also watched a lot of, what was it? Unsolved Mysteries, but that's less,
I think I never watched Unsolved Mysteries, but I definitely watched Sightings. I remember, like, I think I've mentioned this on the show before, but when I was a kid, I used to, like, I remember watching this, like, real-life vampires documentary.
No, there's, like, this one that I remember. There was, like, a kids one they had, where they would talk about, like, vampires and stuff, but it was, like, really creepy.
Oh, yeah, no, I know what it is, but I've forgotten what it's called.
It's like the kids had, like, it was, like, they're, like, armchair historians, and they're just sitting in a chair, reading a book, and then just showing, like, grainy photographs.
Pretty much.
If anyone knows what that is, let us know.
Yeah, tweet at us.
But, you know, their dad's like, oh my god, this is amazing, and Mr. Spellman is like, oh, yeah, you did a good job here. And, you know, they start talking and stuff, and all of a sudden, Mr. Spellman's like, foolish fool, I was the wizard.
Oh my god, his name, the man named Mr. Spellman, who has long white hair and a mustache, the man named Mr. Spellman is a wizard.
I'm a what?
He's a wizard. I did not see this coming.
It's like having like a blood doctor named Bloodsucker, and there's a vampire.
Yeah, I know. Like, you go into the Red Cross and it's like, hi, I'm Dr. Acula.
No, his Alucard.
Yeah, oh my god. That scene in the Monster Squad where he writes down Alucard and then he, like, thinks about it for a really long time and then he writes down Dracula and it, like, plays the dramatic music. Hey, fat kid, nice job. My name is Horace.
But yeah, so surprise, surprise, he's the wizard, and now that he's defeated Sir Thomas, good old the wizard can take back his pendant, which, you know, gives him more magical powers. But first, he's gonna turn Mike into a rat, almost like the witches. Creepy, horrific transformation like Angelica Houston in that movie.
I haven't seen The Witches. I've only read the book and seen it as a play.
But yeah, but then all of a sudden a suit of armor starts coming out. I was like, oh no, Sir Thomas is alive.
Dun 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 dun.
Oh my god, it's Carly. That was funny. Hey guys, I got this haunted mask. You guys want it? All of a sudden, as they're talking and stuff, Mike pulls like a golden sword from the pendant as just about when good old Mr. Spellman, or what is his name is actually, like his wizard name is really funny. His name's Modron.
Which sounds a lot like margarine. The way that I'm pronouncing it anyway, it sounds like margarine.
I kept actually thinking of Protheon from Dungeons and Dragons. Like just overacting, hamming it up.
Yeah, but his name sounds like the word margarine, as in the stuff that's not butter.
I don't even know what that is.
Do you know a product called I Can't Believe It's Not Butter?
Yes, I have that downstairs.
That is margarine. That's what that is called. It's like butter, but it's made from canola oil. I can't believe you can't believe it's not butter, Zach.
So he's the butter wizard?
He's the butter wizard.
I can't believe it's not magic, as he like
I
shoots
can't
like
believe it's not magic. It's margarine.
I'm about to say ancient Egyptian laser beam.
Mega ultra chicken.
So he shoots pretty much like a. Like, I feel like this is like where like the heavy rock music. If this was in the 80s and like or heavy synth, and he shoots the laser beam, and Mike reflects it off the gold sword.
There's something very like endearingly lame about wizard. You will not win. It is a good day to do what has to be done by me to defeat the enemies. And then the next chapter opens with Sir Thomas back again. It's like, damn, Thomas, back at it again with the suit of armor. I understand if you want to like cut me as the co-host for making that very, very dead meme.
So the laser beam's happening. Don't F with me. I have the power of God and anime on my side.
Yes! He does have the power of God and anime on his side.
It's like Sailor Moon. Like it is like a Sailor Moon type of transformation.
Yes.
And like the laser beam shoots off, and it hits Madron in the face, and he starts turning into a slug monster.
He starts turning into like a big dragon first. So his arms stretched out, his hands turning into big scaly yellow claws. His legs stretched too, and his body puffed up like a huge purple blimp, which is not threatening, that last one. Like the first two, I'm like, yep, that's kind of scary, and then his body puffed up like a blimp. No, that's dumb. That's stupid.
Yep, so he turns into a slug, and he gets smaller and smaller, and he just starts crawling away.
He turns into a dragon, and then after he turns into a dragon, he gets turned into a slug.
I thought that was all just one sequence where like he starts turning into a dragon.
No, there's a part where he says, I was standing face to face with a dragon, a hideous dragon with big purple wings. And the dragon kind of sounds like a dragon version of King Jelly Jam.
You know, then he finally gets turned into a slug, and he starts slithering away, because, you know, he probably still has his Horcruxes somewhere. Well, they'll deal with it in another time. Sir Thomas comes back to life. It's almost like the Iron Giant, like at the end, like he starts putting himself back together.
More topically, the werewolf from Monster Squad.
Wolfman's got nards.
There's only one way to kill a werewolf.
Boom.
I always think it's really sad in like werewolf movies when the werewolf like gets shot and then they're like, thank you.
No, I love it. It's like, somebody shoot me.
Lock me up! That was actually scary. Like that scene would have scared me if I'd seen that movie as a kid, which I haven't.
Especially like he's like a good guy, but he's just a werewolf.
Yeah. And when he, like, hides the pills under his tongue and he spits them out and he goes to the payphone and he's like, they're gonna come for your son, Del.
He's like, oh my god, thank you so much for destroying that evil, vile Madrid.
Margarine.
Madrid?
I can't believe it's not butter. Just call him that.
I can't believe he's not a wizard anymore because he's a slug.
A slimy purple snail. Sorry, Zach, he was a snail.
Oh, he's a snail?
A slimy purple snail. And Thomas laughs and he goes, ha ha, a snail. How fitting for the evil one. Sir Thomas literally talks like John Freeman, who was Gordon Freeman's brother. Zombie ghosts, leave this place.
So wait, this was written by a woman. It could be her son that wrote John Freeman.
Oh, man. Twist. This is our connected universe.
I must do what has to be done for the good of the world.
I must do what has to be done by me to protect my brother from the enemies. And John Freeman thought, my brother is in there!
You zombie ghosts, you cannot
zombie
live
ghosts,
here,
leave this place! You can't live here anymore because you are zombie ghosts. So he blew up the house, and then the ghosts were at peace. I'm sorry, officer, I can't give you my license. Why is that? Because you are a headcrab zombie!
I want someone to interview that guy.
I want to find out what happened to him, and I want to find out what happened to Tara Gillespie.
Then Sir Thomas actually knights Mike, even though I thought that knights couldn't knight other people. I thought it was only the queen or king.
No, only the queen can knight.
Yes.
I do dub thee Sir Michael of History's Mysteries. Why not Sir Michael of Shady Side, huh?
Sir Mike of Burger King.
Sir Mike of Burger Joe's.
Of Burger Joe's.
Burger Joe did nothing wrong.
Especially in this episode.
Because he's not even in it.
And then Sir Thomas, like, steps back and he almost gives, like, this is, like, again, Monster Squad, he gives a thumbs up as he slowly turns into dust.
Yeah, that was so funny in Monster Squad where Van Helsing just, like, appears, puts Dracula in a headlock, and gives Sean a thumbs up, and then they, like, slide away into the portal.
There's so much great stuff about that movie.
It has shades of Monster Squad. Like, there's an amulet, there's a kid that likes spooky stuff.
The sister's kind of a brat, but helps kind of in the end. But the book ends with, for some reason, that was actually the wrong package they got.
Oh no. Looks like a note from your Uncle Basil. Oh man, we've got basil, we've got margarine. We could make, like, pasta.
Where's Puttanesca? Is that their mom's name?
Their dad's name is Salt. And Carly's middle name is Spaghetti.
Spaghetti?
Why you touching my spaghetti?
Somebody touch my spaghetti.
They get a letter from their Uncle Basil Oregano Time Parsley III.
And it says, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope."
No, it says, does this mean what I think it means? It means Dad made a face. His glasses jumped up his nose, which is ridiculous. I think it means that wherever Sir Thomas's suit of armor came from, it sure didn't come from Uncle Basil. Wow, I flopped down on the edge of the crate. Yeah, Dad said, wow. Wait, there's more. Carly pointed to the letter. There's a P.S. Mike, there's something extra special for you in the crate. Oh my god, at the end, I loved this. This is so funny. At the end, in the package, is a shirt that says, "My uncle went to England," and all I got was this dumb t-shirt. I love that so much. That's such a classic Jovial Bob ending, even though Jovial Bob did not write this.
But then who sent the package, the first one?
The wizard.
The wizard? Oh yeah, because every 100 years he has to fight.
The wizard did it.
Yeah, a wizard did it.
If anything doesn't make sense, you gotta say a wizard did it.
A wizard did it, yeah, like in The Simpsons.
Yep, exactly like in The Simpsons. Anyway.
I thought this book was nice and lovely. I felt like this was a little adventure story. For me, I'm a huge fan of magic and sorcery and high fantasy books. This doesn't fit any of these requirements, but it's still a charming book.
Yeah. I am not a fan of those things usually. I don't watch a lot of fantasy. I don't read a lot of fantasy, but knights are cool, and I like Scooby-Doo, and I like Kolchak the Night Stalker. And I like the Bigfoot Museum in Littleton, North Carolina. And this book reminded me of all of those things. And it was like, there's not much we could say about it, because it's kind of like just very simple.
It takes place pretty much in one night. It's almost like a parlor mystery. And how it takes place, and then the next morning everything gets resolved.
Yeah, which is kind of good.
I think this story was nice. If you like stuff like this, just go pick it up and read it. It's anything that was like super laugh worthy or wasn't really poorly written.
It was not as good as How to Be a Vampire though. That one I think is the best out of the Ghosts of Fear Street that we've read. What book are we reading next week?
Meg, right or left?
Left.
So next week we're going to be reading J.R. Black Shadow Zone. Good night, Mummy.
No! Zach!
You doomed us all, Meg. We could have read Bunnicula.
Oh, god damn it! We'll read Bunnicula in another 3 weeks. I feel like we have to defeat this beast now. I have summoned it. I've brought it up from its slumber. And now we gotta defeat it.
It's come back to us. It's like that clown like we had to defeat like 30 years ago. It's just back now.
Yeah.
Speaking of sad, disappointing things, you want to hear a joke from Jovial Bob Stein?
Of course I do. Cleanse my soul with a joke.
What's a monster's favorite movie?
What?
Star Wars.
You said that was a good one just because it said Star Wars, didn't you?
No.
Zach was like, that's Star Wars. That's a thing that I like. This monster and I have so much in common.
I am a monster.
You're a rock monster, vampire, zombie, plant person.
Ghost baby.
Ghost baby. Yes, indeed.
That fights Bigfoot. That sounds like a weird versus movie. Meg, where can they find you?
You find me on Twitter at Meg Tuten. That's MEGTUTEN. And you can also find my Redbubble page, which is where you can get Nightmare on Fear Street merchandise. So just look for Megan Tuten, MEGHANTUTEN on Redbubble, and go to my Nightmare on Fear Street merchandise folder.
If you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at Suda41. That's SUDA41. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow us on Twitter at Night Fear Street, or if you want to email the show and send us spooky messages, you can email us at nightmareonfearstreet@gmail.com. If you want to find my other show, Radio Camp Half-Blood, you can find us on any other major podcasting sites. And hey guys, if you guys are going to WonderCon this year in California on Sunday, March 25th, I'm actually going to be helping out with this panel. It's going to be the Back to the Future Answered of the Unanswered Questions panel, hosted by Jeff Tucker and a bunch of other spooky guests such as Chris Gore from Film Threat, Justin Sakar of Random Land, and many, 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 many other people. So come check that out and have a lot of fun. I'm Zach.
I'm Meg.
And keep staying spooky.
Bye.
Bye.